Level 1. The candidate. You apply online like everyone else. There's a form on the DEA website. You fill in your name, your education, your work history. You click submit. 6 weeks later, your phone rings. That call starts something you won't be able to stop. The background check takes 4 months. They talk to your neighbors, your old professors, your ex. People you forgot existed suddenly remember you very clearly. Then the polygraph. You sit in a chair with sensors on your fingers and your chest and your arm. A technician asks you questions for 3 hours. Have you ever used illegal drugs? Have you ever committed a crime you weren't caught for? Have you ever lied to a federal officer? You answer everything. Then Quantico. 18 weeks. Firearms qualification every week. Evidence collection. Federal law. Surveillance techniques. The specific language of warrants that will matter more than anything else when cases go to trial. Day 1, your instructor says, most of what will kill you in this job isn't a gun. He says, it's paperwork. It's a warrant that doesn't hold. It's evidence you collected wrong. It's a case that falls apart in court because you moved too fast. He says, the streets will test your courage. The courtroom will test everything else. You graduate. You get your badge. You get your credentials. You have no idea what you just signed up for. Level 2. The rookie. Phoenix Field Division. Your supervisor is a 15-year veteran named Torres who speaks in short sentences and has the specific patience of a man who has seen every mistake made by every rookie and decided it's easier to let them make it themselves. Your first case is a mid-level dealer operating out of an apartment complex on the south side. Small, clean, textbook. You spend 3 weeks on surveillance. You build the case correctly. Every step documented. Every piece of evidence handled properly. The arrest goes wrong anyway. The dealer is gone when you hit the apartment. Your informant tipped him off. 3 weeks of work evaporated. Torres looks at you. He says, rebuild it. You rebuild it. 6 weeks later, the dealer is in custody. He gets 4 years. You file the paperwork. You drive home. You think, that's it. That's what it looks like when it works. You expected to feel more. Torres told you it would feel like this. You didn't believe him. Now you do. Level 3. The agent. 2 years in, you made 19 arrests, testified in 8 trials, lost 2 cases to evidence issues you still think about at 3 a.m. You get your first confidential informant. He's been moving product for a Sinaloa cell in Tucson for 4 years. He got caught on a weapons charge. He's looking at 10 years federal. He wants a deal. You sit across from him in an interview room. You lay out what cooperation means, what he gives you, what he gets in return. He agrees. You run him for 9 months. Parking lot meetings, dead drops, recordings made wearing a wire that costs more than your first car. He is good. He gets you inside a distribution network you've been trying to crack for 2 years. Then he gets greedy. He starts taking product off the top. The cartel finds out before you do. You get the call on Tuesday morning. They found him in a drainage ditch outside Tucson. You sit with that. You write your report. You close his file. Torres says, it happens. He says, you did everything right. He says, sometimes it happens anyway. You open a new file. You keep going. That's the only thing the job allows. Level 4. The senior agent. 5 years in, you know what you're doing now. Not confident, competent. There's a difference. Confident gets people killed. Competent brings them home. A major operation, a cartel stash house in El Paso. Your lead on the arrest team. 4 a.m. Dark street. Your team stacked outside the door. You breach. Inside, 3 men, 200 kilos, and a fourth man you didn't know about who comes out of a back room with a weapon. 4 seconds. Everything training gave you fires at once. 4 seconds later, it's over. You stand in that room for a moment. Then you clear the rest of the building. Then you call it in. Then you do everything the job requires you to do next. You write the report that night. Every second documented. Every decision justified. You don't sleep. Not because of what happened. Because of the fourth man you didn't know about. The intelligence gap. The thing you missed. You go back through everything. Every surveillance photo. Every report. Every source. You find where the gap was. You fix it for next time. That's what 5 years taught you. There's always a next time. Level 5. The Group Supervisor. You run a team now. 8 agents. Their safety, your responsibility. Their mistakes, your problem. Their wins, yours too. But that part feels less significant than you thought it would. The paperwork triples. The field work halves. You spend Tuesday afternoons in budget meetings. You spend Thursday mornings reviewing surveillance logs from operations you're not on. You spend Friday evenings writing performance evaluations for people who are better in the field than you are now. But you still go out when it matters. A warehouse operation outside El Paso. Your team. Your call. You're in the command vehicle. Radio in your head. Listening to 8 people moving through a building in the dark. Everything goes quiet for 30 seconds. 30 seconds is too long. You key the radio. Your lead agent's voice comes back. One word. Clear. You breathe. Afterward, the youngest agent on your team comes to you. 24 years old. 18 months on the job. He says, "I frozen there for a second." You say, "I know." He says, "How did you know?" You say, "Because I froze my second year too." You say, "You unfroze." That's the job. He nods. You watch him walk to his car. You think about the informant in the drainage ditch. You think about the fourth man in El Paso. You think about sending 8 people into buildings at 4 a.m. and waiting by a radio. You think this is what it costs to do this work. You get in your car. You go home. You come back tomorrow. Level 6. The ASAC. Assistant Special Agent in Charge. You oversee 4 groups now. 32 agents. Operations across an entire region. This is where you learn what the job actually is. Not arrests. Not investigations. Politics. A case in your team has been building for 14 months gets killed. Not because the evidence is weak. The evidence is the strongest you've seen in 6 years. It gets killed because the target has a lawyer who knows a senator who makes a phone call to Washington. You find out on a Wednesday afternoon. You sit in your office. You think about 14 months. The agents who worked nights and weekends. The informant who wore a wire into rooms where getting caught meant dying. You pick up the phone. You make the call that ends it. You tell your lead agent it's over. He looks at you. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't need to. You say, "I know." You say, "Next one." That's what this rank requires. You move on every time. Level 7. The SAC. Special Agent in Charge. You're on a field division now. 400 agents and support staff. Every major operation in your region goes through your desk. Every press conference in your region is your face. Every funeral in your region is your letter. You write 3 letters in your first year. Each one takes you an entire evening. You sit at your desk with a blank page and you try to find words that are true and meaningful and not just the words everyone says. You mostly fail, but you write them anyway because someone has to. Because the job requires it. Because the agent who didn't come home deserves more than a form letter. You attend the funerals. You shake hands with the families. You look at the kids. Then you drive back to the office. You have operations pending on your desk. You approve them. That's what the job requires. Level 8. The deputy. Washington. You haven't been in the field in 18 months. You brief Congress twice a month. You testify before committees 4 times a year. You manage relationships with Interpol, with foreign drug enforcement agencies, with intelligence services that technically don't share information with DEA, but do anyway because everyone needs everyone else's data. You sit in rooms with people who have never made an arrest, who have never run an informant, who have never written a letter to a family. They ask questions, they make decisions, they move on to the next briefing. You fly back from Mexico City on a red eye. Your deputy calls before you land. The operation you approved 6 months ago just made the largest cocaine seizure in DEA history. 6 tons, 51 arrests, a network that's been running for 12 years. You say, "Good work." You hang up. You look out the window at the dock below. 6 tons that won't reach American streets. 51 people who will go to prison. The families of 3 agents you lost getting to this point. You think, does it balance? You fall asleep before you have an answer. Level 9. The Administrator. Senate confirmed. Accountable to the Attorney General. The top of everything. 40,000 employees. A budget of $3 billion. Operations in 93 countries. Your name is on the building's directory. Your photograph will hang on the wall. You think about the polygraph. The technician asks you questions for 3 hours. The form you filled out online. You think about Torres telling you in Phoenix that what kills you in this job isn't a gun. He was right. What kills you in this job is the weight of it. Not the danger, the accumulation. Every case that fell apart, every informant you lose, every letter you wrote, every call from Washington that killed something real. You carry all of it. That's the job at every rank. The ranks just mean you carry more. Level 10. The cost. You sit in a hearing room in Washington. Senators asking questions about the drug problem. You answer them. You've been answering these questions for 12 years, at every rank, in every room. The answers are always the same. The problem is complicated. The progress is real. The work continues. The senator asks, "Are we winning?" You pause. You think about the drainage ditch in Tucson, the 4th man in El Paso, the case killed by a phone call, the letters, the funerals. You think about 6 tons of cocaine that didn't reach American streets, 51 arrests, 19 years of combined sentences, the families of dealers who would grow up without fathers, the families of agents who will grow up without fathers too. You say, "We're doing the work." The senator nods. The hearing continues. You think that's the only answer that's ever been true. Not winning, not losing, doing the work. Every day, at every rank, until you can't anymore. Then someone else does it. That's the job. That's always been the job.